So it'll move us on into Q&A.
Q&A?
Yep. I got a question here from Andrew Warren Drums.
Okay, Andrew Warren. He's been a member of the site for a while, actually.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. And then you have a question here. What made you finally leave a 9-to-5 job and pursue music full time?
So my last real job was Sam Ash. I've talked about that a few times on this podcast, working at old Sam Ash. I really lived like just like a mile from that same store. And, that was my last real job. And I don't know if things are different there now, but I feel like it's been 10 years at least, so I can definitely tell this story now. But the way they had it set up there was, and I think Guitar Center is honestly the same way. A lot of music stores have this model, and I don't like this model, where you make minimum wage. By that I mean like $7 or $8 an hour. Is very, very low. Your paychecks are like a couple $100 a week. It's nothing. But you are like a commissioned salesperson. So the more gear you sell, you end up getting like bonuses on your paychecks. And a lot of people actually made great money doing that, depending on what shifts you work, and if somebody came in and bought the $10,000 drum set or the $10,000 guitar. Some weeks that didn't happen. But the way, I actually started teaching there. And so I taught in these back little lesson rooms of this music store. And I remember I had racked up like 10 or 15 students in the first month. Because I had a little bit of like YouTube traffic at the time, not much at all, like a few thousand subscribers. But through that, and then I was also teaching privately, I ended up bringing in like a good amount of students, like a dozen students into this store. And then what I had found out was the way that they rang up your lessons was as though you had sold someone a lesson, not directly, but it was like you sold them a piece of gear. Right? So in order to, you ever heard the phrase break your base? You have to sell enough gear in order to get paid. You don't just get paid. You don't just get paid off of every single piece of gear that you sell. You have to sell, let's say, $10,000 worth of gear per week. That's your base. And once you break that threshold, then you start making money what you sell beyond that. And so what I had found out was, and nobody told me this, that giving a lesson was no different than selling someone a product. And because I did not give enough lessons to break my base, I got paid nothing for having like 15 students. Yeah, nothing. Because I didn't actually, I didn't sell enough gear on the floor combined with the lessons that I gave to break my base.
Jeez.
And so, after I was there for several months, but the first month that I gave 15 lessons per week for 4 weeks in a row and did not get paid, I said, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. And I said, I will take the risk and go teach on my own full time. So I shamelessly, told like all of these students, like, hey, I'm not teaching here anymore. Like, I don't like how this works at all. Like, I have not been paid for any of these lessons. And so a handful of them actually came with me, and then I went full force teaching full time. So that kind of experience was the one that gave me the desire to have control over the entire lesson business. I still wanted to do the same thing. I still wanted to teach full time. It was just really intimidating to try and book all of these students on my own. Like, where do I teach them? Do I go to their house? How do I manage this if I have students all over the city? And that definitely took a few years to figure out until I had a full roster and had like a comfortable amount of money coming in where that was my full-time gig. But honestly, that experience at that music store was the thing that made me say, like, I don't think I want a boss anymore. And then went full-time teaching, and then a few years after that, full-time online. So yeah, and that's not to throw any music store under the bus. It's more of like a criticism of that kind of system. Like that
pay structure
sucks.
is shitty.
Yeah, that's a really bad way to do it. Yeah. Not all commission sales jobs are bad, but sometimes those setups can go really wrong and just screw people over, and that's kind of what happened to me. So yeah, that's the truthful answer as to why I left the real workforce and went independent.
There you go.
Thank you so much for watching this clip from the Orlando Drummer Podcast. If you're looking for more content like this, you are formally invited to come join me on orlandodrummer.com. It's an online education platform, very much in the style of Netflix, and there you'll find over 160 hours of content waiting for you, ranging from in-depth lesson packs to audio and video masterclasses and everything in between. I'd love to have you on board. We'll see you guys there.